Alright, we're rolling. Dude, we got 70 frames for a second.
Dude, that's so many.
So many frames.
Are you gonna sneak back in the corner or something?
Yeah. Okay, what are you drinking coffee?
No, it's just water.
I almost made coffee.
Can't handle this much coffee. I've been on Saturday. I had 2 cups of coffee, and I had a night.
Oh, there's a diner close to my new place that's been there for a very long time, and it's still like run by the same people. And I went there for the first time, and they have very mild coffee and very slow service, but it was all kind of nice. I just sat there for like 2 hours and drank a lot of coffee and didn't feel bad.
Nice. There's a place nearby our place that I really enjoy. Everyone thinks CC's the hotness for the crazy pancakes
Yeah.
and all that stuff. More than waffles, though. It is fantastic. Excellent coffee, but I like hazelnut, and their coffee is like hazelnut infused, which I really
Hazelnut
dig.
is hot garbage.
Well, I mean,
It's like-
you can't eat it.
What? No, hazelnut isn't like really a nut. It's like, oh, look at me, and my name's Nutella. I'm bad.
Well,
also,
it's not.
Well, Nutella is just like blended with milk chocolate,
Yeah.
isn't it?
yeah. They should have like dark chocolate Nutella. They probably do, right?
I don't
The hazelnut would
know.
still be bad. Do they not have dark chocolate
I
Nutella?
don't think they do.
I don't think they acknowledge that there's any chocolate in it. Like
Yeah.
they try to pretend that it's all just hazelnut. So I think
They try to
saying-
pretend it's healthy, right?
Yeah. So I think calling it dark chocolate would be like,
What about
pulling the
like
curtain
dark Nutella? Or like Nutella at
back. Nutella
midnight?
midnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nutella after dark.
Man.
Nutella midnight would totally work for them.
There's
This-
a Nutiva
Oh.
hazelnut dark chocolate spread.
Wow.
Nutiva.
This is what you call a rolling start, right?
Yeah, dude.
Where you
Yeah.
In medias res, we're in the action. What's happening? I
Yeah.
gotta get context clues, figure out what's going on.
and
This
then
is great.
boom, header.
Boom, there it is.
Show intro.
What is this show called? Now I have to make a header for like
Yeah.
we
No.
talk about TwitchCon the show.
No,
There you
no,
go. That's what it is. We talk about TwitchCon.
See, you're making it work for yourself. I
want Randy Savage to burst through this wall.
Oh yeah. I can't do a good Randy Savage because
Oh yeah.
I'm not well. Yeah, no. It's been like a week since we've done like a really unique piece of Patreon content for you, and with a little bit of feedback, we realized that maybe we should just sit down and chat for a little moment.
Yeah, we never
Because-
get opportunities to just chat us three.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got stories to tell. We have things to recount, and allegedly, I've heard a rumor. You like it when we talk. I don't know which camera I'm looking at. It's like an envision.
That one.
Yeah.
We actually have a new shot in case you haven't noticed.
Do
yet.
you like it when I cough into the microphone?
Absolutely, I do.
Oh, you're wearing headphones, so you can really hear it.
Yeah, I can.
Man, it's probably been a couple weeks since we've caught up. How's your couple weeks been, Cole? Tell me about your life.
I feel like I'm never gonna stop unpacking.
I feel like you need
You
a
have a lot
professional.
of shit?
I have
You-
so much shit. So
Why?
much. It's
Well, you
like-
had a 2-story place.
We had a 2-story place, and we acquired a lot of stuff from other people who'd move in and then move out, and we have like actual adult furniture now, which is a thing I've never had, and
That's cool.
there's 2 of us in a 1-bedroom, so it's like navigating who gets a corner of the living room to store all their shit and stuff like that.
Is Adam protective about his shit?
He just has a lot more stuff than I do in general, so it's fine.
I feel like if you let me come over for an afternoon, I can just like whip you into. Come on, Coral, let's do this. Let's do this. And then we put on like some
It's
Michael
been-
Jackson in the background, and
It's been slow because I keep having to go back to IKEA to get more like storage things.
Oh,
and shelves.
that's-
There's not a lot of storage in my place. It's a big space, but it's just a big room. So it's like needing shelving, needing like little storage bins and stuff like that.
oh,
So that's slowed it down.
I gotta go to the storage. What's it called? The storage?
The Container Store?
Container store.
I went to
there
the
you go.
Container Store this weekend. I love the Container Store.
I haven't
Container Store is
been.
an excellent,
feel like it's too
excellent
expensive?
store. No. Because if you have a membership, you get a million discounts all the time.
There's
It's
a
like
membership?
Joanne.
I didn't know that there's a membership.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
the name for it is like you're a pop star because you get pop perks. I don't know why pop, but that's like every time I go to Container Store, I log in and it's like, welcome back, pop star. and then I get 50% off.
Why do
Pro tip.
why do you need to go to the Container Store, Nick?
I feel like I had this like, well, I interrupted Coral's flow though.
It's fine. I'm gonna record a Coral Corner probably tomorrow. So.
Nah, I just had this weird moment like this last night. I was like, I need to get my life together. I need to get my act together.
What happened last night?
No, man, just my existential thinking, just sitting in bed. I'm like, I need to reevaluate a lot of things in my life and and I think a big part of it, a big contention point is I just need to be more strategic with how I go about orchestrating and planning my days. Therefore, I think organization is something that I need to make a more active effort towards, doing and just being more conscious about. So I have like a space under my bed now that I'm like, I'm not just gonna throw shit in there.
Yeah.
Because that's just go back to the old me. I'm gonna get a container and I'm going to label things. I even looked into like a weird whiteboard calendar. I think I got inspired by our Airbnb lady.
Yeah.
I was like, I really like the way she organized this. I don't need to go all out like that, but it just like, oh, this spoke to me, and I want to do like, I want to meal prep and things like
Can
that.
I like make suggestions to start with?
Yeah, of course.
You like a to-do list on your phone?
Yeah, of course. But,
Like that one.
No, that's too much, man.
What do you mean?
Well,
You're talking about like
the problem is too,
meal prepping. That's way more.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing that I think that I haven't said yet is I find myself spending far too much time looking at my phone. Like that's like
okay.
that's like the big thing now for a lot of people.
Well, you're like a
Yeah.
Twitter completionist.
that are. Yeah, and it's just one of those things that I find myself absent-mindedly digging through my phone just because it's there. And I think it's actually detracted from my enjoyment of a lot of things, not just like normal conversation or things like that. I'm generally pretty good about that sort of thing, but like
Humble brag.
watching things. Like if I'm watching a movie, I find it so like it's bad that I
Yeah.
pick up my phone and look at a thing. Not because I don't think the thing's interesting, but I think it's just like this weird innate thing that my body does now, which is
Yeah.
bad. Like it's not a good thing to do. So I'm trying to limit my phone time a little bit more. And I think I've done an okay job with that.
There's apps for that.
There is, but then you're still using your phone to track. Like I'm more of like cold turkey. That's it. I just need to do this X, Y, and Z, and I'm done.
Nice.
I guess that works for you, but I feel like if that works for you, that's cool. But that's like a trying to get to the finish line without training to get there, or
No,
like
that's
learning, or
totally
like
fair.
taking the steps to like change. You're just like, I'm gonna do this thing, and then you do that thing, and you're like, eventually you'll stop doing the thing. But like if you take a more slower, deliberate route to change, then you might like actually change habits instead
See
of just
more. Instead of just temporary.
putting
Yeah.
a Band-Aid on something.
No, that's totally fair. I will look into these productivity apps because it sounds like something that I
Dude,
would
before if I was a crazy person, I'd start to pitch like, dude, Nick, you gotta start time tracking.
Well, I used to do like macro stuff, like where you would track your like, oh, how many carbs have you had today? How much protein have you had
Yeah.
today? How many saturated fats? And that was the worst. I hated my life doing that.
Yeah. I
But-
can't do anything like that without it becoming obsessive to the point of being
Yeah.
unhealthy.
I had a
love
scale and everything where
Yeah.
I'd weigh my food and be like, okay, that's 4 ounces of X, so that means it's blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love time tracking
Why?
because you really get that idea of what you're doing with your time in your
true.
day.
That's true.
You know how much your time's worth. You know how much time it takes you to do stuff. You know when you're losing focus because you're like, oh, you look at the end of the day and you're like, oh no, I logged 6 hours of TV. What happened?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, and then I'll shut up, is like I haven't had a time. It feels like, or maybe I just haven't made time to like write because I enjoy writing. I like to write things. I like writing stories. I like writing critiques and just brain vomit onto an empty page of something. And I just haven't had a chance to do that. And I think it's like contributed to this like overall like looming sense of depression that I'm having, where I'm like, I don't really have like an outlet. Like this show is an outlet for sure, but it's not really like, it's a very different outlet than what I need. You
Yeah.
know? Like I want to write things in the way that I enjoy writing things, and I want to write stories. And then I had this very big crazy idea driving into IGN today, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. So stay tuned.
Yeah, the point.
Oh. It sounds worse when you fight it.
Yeah.
Man, guys, I've had such a bad couple of weeks.
Sorry.
It's really been.
All started with those box jumps.
It's really been shitty. That's accurate. It started, I think, when Nick was sick in my house for about a week and a half, and then proceeded to give me whatever bullshit he has.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Not touch any of everything that we share.
But what am I supposed to do?
Oh, here we go. I'm just picking up the water jug, and then I'm not going to sanitize
I
it.
have to drink. What are you going to sanitize?
I'm just saying.
I'm
like,
making you stronger.
No, you're not making me stronger.
I'm calling you.
I'm a weak boy with no
You
immune
have-
system.
What's it called? You have blight, and I'm trimming you. And
I survived for so long with you being sick in the house, and I thought I was going to be okay.
I'm convinced Corrado got you sick.
Yeah, but the fact that you haven't stopped coughing for literally a month.
What are you talking? No, I'm fine now. I'm fine.
Dude,
What?
that's not true.
I haven't coughed in like 24 hours.
Wow, so you finally made it a whole day out of the last month of not coughing?
I feel like an
Congrats
innocuous,
on
like,
being
oh,
over it.
water went down the wrong drain. you
That's
know?
not true. You've been nonstop coughing all day, every
Is
day.
it at night? Like when I'm asleep?
All the time.
Because that I have no control over.
But, yeah, but you, man, this is so like, Nick got me sick. Corrado got me sick.
I'm surprised. Never mind.
Surprised what? Coral's not sick?
Nah, that's not what I was going to say.
That's what you were going to say.
I have a pretty decent immune system. I don't get sick very often, but this is the time of year I usually get sick, so we'll see.
People have been doing the thing where like, it's going around.
That's not a thing.
But it's not. It's not. It's yeah, so a couple weeks ago I started a gig at IGN, which was a temporary thing. In which Corrado came into work remarkably ill.
Like bad. Like you shouldn't have come into work. Like,
I don't know why he does
irresponsible.
that. He always does that.
It's like that weird old school like hardcore mentality of like, oh, I
Yeah.
go to work no matter what. I got to work through it.
It's like, oh, it's not going to get done if I don't do it.
Exactly. Which
Like,
I get, but at the same time
it's true. It
Like,
would have been really hard to like meet some deadlines if like he wasn't doing anything, but like holy fuck.
But like you could have, and then no one else would get. Like there's also the world where you go in and everything gets done the day you need it, and then 5 different people in your office are deathly ill the next week, and 2 of them miss a day. Like
everyone has been sick now.
yeah.
So that sucks. Being sick sucks. But when we were doing the box jump bit, which is now getting close to 3 weeks, I think it'll be 3 weeks on Friday.
Yeah.
I tore or pulled or strained or something my back.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
To the point where for the first week and a half, it was just insufferable all the time. And now it's gotten progressively better so that it only hurts after I sit down for a prolonged period of time. I can't like stand up straight. I just like walked all hunched and everything's all stiff. So like my back's fucked up. I can't stop coughing, which, fun fact, when you can't stop coughing, all it does is strain the muscles in your back because they tighten when you cough.
Yeah.
And then last week I proceeded to get a molar pulled out, which I don't know if anyone's gotten teeth removed recently, but the process they do, they take to do that is not much different than I assume it was in the 1600s because it involves pliers, a chisel, and a hammer. Like, how the fuck has modern dentistry not grown beyond a hammer and a chisel? You know what they do, Carl? They take like a pick and they put it under your gums to get to the tooth, and then so the pick's kind of by the root.
My eye's
and then
literally twitching.
they tap it. They go tap tap to loosen it up. And then when your tooth is so fucked up because that tooth previously had 2 root canals in it and had a crown on it, I really didn't want to lose this tooth. That it just starts to disintegrate when they're tapping it because the tooth is broken. And then you hear the dentist with the scraper going around in your bone, in your jaw, to scrape out all of the dead material that is just living up there. In case you're curious, you're never going to get this shot. Oh yeah, look at that. There's a big hole in my mouth.
Has there been a horror movie about a dentist? Because I feel like that's a missed
Teeth?
opportunity. That doesn't count.
There's the evil dentist in Little Shop of Horrors, but that's
No.
all I can think of, really.
Like, you could do some crazy ass body horror stuff.
yeah, yeah.
It's my idea.
I don't like teeth.
Don't steal it.
It's my idea, man. So I guess
Now you have dead people's bones in your mouth.
Yeah, oh, dude. You know, so when you get a tooth pulled and you're gonna have an implant done properly, which, by the way, if you're like, oh, let me get a cheap dental implant, please don't do that. That's actually not real. Like, a $300 dental implant is just fake news and like bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, if you're
Your
gonna,
body will reject it.
if you want a real dental implant, it takes about 8 months,
Mm-hmm.
and it costs much more than the billboards say. Fun fact.
Don't I know it?
Oh, believe me, I know it too. Once they get the old root and the old tooth out, they take human cadaver bone, which is ground up into like a sand-like material, and they mix it with a bunch of anesthetic, so it becomes kind of like a paste. And then they take a tool and they shove it in all the nooks and crannies they just made from the tooth being extracted. And then they put a little membrane on the bottom, and then they suture you all up if the hole's big enough. So I'm about 2 weeks out from that almost, and the thing about all the bone sand is that it still trickles out because not all of it takes.
That's the worst feeling.
So periodically I have dead people's bone just dripping out of my mouth, and then it's like, oh, let me just get that off my tongue, and just, yep, that's a dead person's bone. That's just.
You just taste like you got sand in your mouth, and you're like, oh, nope, that's not sand though. That's dead people bone.
Yeah. So to recap, giant hole in my mouth, which is still trying to heal because it's very large. It was a big molar. Dead people bone in my mouth for the last couple of weeks. Nonstop coughing. Went to work for 2 days with a fever.
You work like 16-hour days too, right?
I worked at least 12-hour days, 2 days in a row with a fever. My back hurts, and we haven't been doing cyber garbage stuff, which just makes everything worse because I've just been sad. So, also Beto lost. So really, that's just the fucking cap to November. November's over. I'm just chalking up November to a loss already. On to December. Christmas can't come soon enough.
I'm going to have a nice Friendsgiving, if you want to just
Yeah.
end November on a high note.
Is Friendsgiving usually on Thanksgiving?
I think different people do it differently. We do it on Thanksgiving because we're not busy on Thanksgiving, which we kind of feel like that's the point of a Friendsgiving, is for all the orphans to come hang out. But I do have other friends who are doing it like that weekend as well.
Oh.
We should do it on Saturday.
Can't just change her Friendsgiving.
We should do one.
It on
We should do one on Saturday. No,
Oh.
Corals will be on a day where I have to spend with my family, which blows.
I always do the thing now where I since it's like now it's like my second year away from home, where now I do the family event, and we usually, my family's historically always done things like early in the day, and then at night we usually let's go see what this person's doing, but we stopped kind of doing that, and so now I'm just I just go home early on Christmas Day back to my apartment because that sounds nice.
Oh, that's sad.
But
That's very sad.
But no, but you think about it, and I think about it, I'm like, this seems sad, but I feel fine. It's something that I feel like I needed. I needed that little alone time.
You have so much alone time.
What
You don't need alone time on Christmas.
don't
The
have
one day
enough
you
alone
don't need
time.
alone time. Spend the day with your family. It's Christmas.
I spend a good majority of it with my
Yeah, that's fake news, dude. Just fucking spend the day with your family. It's Christmas. You don't need to be like, hey, Mom, I know it's 2 o'clock, but I'm going to go back home. I'm just not feeling it.
It's not that early. It was 6 o'clock.
You sound like the Grinch. Exactly. Dinner isn't even started by 6 o'clock. And you're like, hey, guys, I'm going to dessert. No. Can I have some cookies for the road? I really got to get back
now
home.
you're making me feel bad.
I got to watch Seven Samurai again.
Hey.
My family always stays up very late Christmas, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably.
I also only see my family a week out of the year, and it's Christmas, so
Well, that's
that's
different.
a lot more. Yeah.
Mine are just an hour drive
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, mine are even closer, but I'm still gonna spend Christmas with them. Jeez.
And you don't even like your family.
Yeah, you like your family way more than I like mine, and you're like, hey guys, I mean, you know, Black Mirror did another White Christmas episode.
I watched Lady Bird on Christmas Day last year.
Oh, that's even sadder?
Why?
Because that's such a like bittersweet, nostalgic, family-oriented film. I'm gonna abandon my family
was
to watch
fine.
a movie about abandoning your family.
Oh. Now I feel guilty.
You should.
Anyway, TwitchCon, guys.
What? Oh, Twitch. Is that what we came here to talk about?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, I guess. I don't even know. We don't have a clock, so I don't know where we're at. But for those of you who don't know, because we did only see a handful of you there, which isn't a slight to anybody, because really it was super awesome to see the people who did come out. TwitchCon.
A lot of people showed up.
Yeah, I think we had a good turnout.
TwitchCon was 2 weekends ago. It was up in San Jose, which is in like the middle of California. We are based out of Los Angeles, which is like the bottomish of California. And we didn't go to a panel. We weren't at the convention proper. But Coral, Nick, and I were like, hey, we're going to drive up so we can see all of you guys, go to a bar, hang out for a night. So that's exactly what we did. And in theory, great idea. In practice, good idea. Great idea. But I think we might have got a little caught up before we thought about the logistics of, okay, so we have to all work Friday, and then we have to go home, and then we have to wake up Saturday, and then we have to drive 6 hours, and then we have to drive 6 hours.
I feel like I thought of the logistics. I knew what I was getting into the entire time.
What do you mean getting into? It was a fun bonding
It
experience.
was great.
So,
But I could, like, at the 3-hour mark, I start to lose my cool when it comes to car travel.
I think I'm the only person who likes long car
I
rides.
hate
Yeah, I get very
long car
antsy.
rides.
It's my back hurt, which was problematic because sitting in the car was insufferable. But I like the long drive. So we got in my car. Nick and Coral came to my parents' house because my parents were gone, so I was dog sitting. So we go to my parents' house, and then my dog sniffed them a bunch, and then we just left.
One dog threw up out of excitement. Nah.
That's accurate. My sister's dog is still young and not very well trained. Yeah, so we just packed up. We left. We got in the car, which I'm saying a bunch of batches. I mean the same thing. And then I was like, "Hey, Coral, any audiobook you want,
Yeah.
anyone." And I'm like, I'm a big fan of nonfiction. Maybe we can do like some self-help books, maybe about scheduling or time management.
I did try to get Rob Lowe's autobiography, but I didn't finish in time.
That would have been very funny.
So instead, we got a full collection of Stephen King books,
Yeah.
which, like, did we pick one? So we realized that they were all like 40 hours and we were never going to finish it.
Yeah.
But we chose one of the shorter ones, Misery.
Yeah, we chose Misery.
And you know what? I unfairly judged it because from the get-go, as soon as the lady started speaking, I was like,
Hey,
I don't like
everybody.
this reader.
This is a Stephen King book.
I don't
It's
like
called Misery.
I don't like the way she reads it. I'm like, I am checked out. I am not feeling this. But when she gets to the crazy scenes in the Misery,
Yeah.
I really liked her. She did such
Yeah.
a good job when things got intense.
I enjoyed the whole experience.
It took a bit for me, but I definitely warmed up to it over time.
So Nick and Coral are familiar with the source work, which I guess in this case is the book.
Yeah. That's
And the movie.
its own source.
But I was ignorant to it. So like 3 hours in when Coral just turned it off, I was like, what the fuck? Coral.
Were you interested?
You said you weren't feeling it.
Were you invested?
I was feeling it, but it was making me a little drowsy.
It's because she reads very monotone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until things get crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever. We stopped in San Luis Obispo, which is, I think, the whitest town I know.
We went to a delightful coffee shop.
It was very cute.
It was very cute. They had tables that
What kind
were
of coffee
ankle
did you
high.
get, Joey?
I had a butterscotch fall latte. Also blow me like.
I almost got a milkshake, but I didn't. 'Cause
Oh,
I
yeah.
figured I'd eat like a terrible monster that night, which I did.
Which you did. Then we listened to a headgum podcast about
What? What's it called?
Punch Up the Jams.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's a head? What'd you say? What was that word?
Like a podcast
headgum?
network.
Oh, okay, got it.
Headgum.
Headgum.
Which definitely re-energized me, mostly because Paul F. Tompkins was in there, and I'm like, dude, Mr. Peanut Butter's doing a podcast right now.
I picked that episode because I thought either of you might like Paul F. Tompkins. That's why. But I like that whole podcast.
Thank you.
How do you feel about Paul F. Tompkins?
I think he's funny.
Yeah.
He's one of the more notable guests they've had. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. So it was fun. We stopped in Gilroy, California, which is the garlic capital of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we spent a lot of time looking for garlic, though.
We did
Yeah.
because
They don't have those in the outlet mall.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're looking all over the place.
hey guys, I just wanted to go to the Vans store, so thank you for humoring me. I almost bought shoes. I did not. And then there was a Jelly Belly store in the outlet mall, which I find weird.
We didn't go into it, though.
No.
No, but I remember it. I remember the Jelly Belly store. I remember there being no garlic stores in the outlet mall. I remember, yeah, mostly just that, and then I remember more of the podcast. So get this, Coral. I was like, I enjoyed the podcast, so I'm like, let me give another one a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to one last week, and I'm like, oh, of course I'm going to choose the Paramore episode.
Oh, I haven't listened to that one.
Oh. Well, I don't...
Spoil the podcast. It's fine.
I'm spoiling the podcast. I'm sorry, Coral. So get this. Like the synopsis of this podcast is basically they shit on a show, on a song for like 50 minutes, and then they like make a version of it that is edited to be better to kind of fix those errors.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what they did for the Punch Up for Misery business?
No.
They made it into the plot of the movie Misery.
That's amazing.
That's,
I should have just put that episode on.
that's serendipitous.
So I was having some crazy like Bader Meinhof
Yeah.
phenomenon going on because you forced me to. You didn't force me. We listened to Misery, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. And that podcast, I listened to another episode of that podcast, and it's like, oh,
What did-
well, here's Misery again.
Yeah.
How have I learned
What'd
about
you
this
think
twice
of
in
the
1
end
week?
of Misery? Did you like how it ended?
No, she probably should have killed him. I think it's unrealistic that the officer didn't come in the first time and that she killed him. That she didn't kill him. She should have killed the writer dude. I
That's
think.
fair. I think if Stephen King rewrote that book today, he definitely would have killed the author.
Yeah. Well.
Well, I'm glad that you got to experience it in that very, I would say ultimately very Joey way of hearing the story of Misery. Also, Misery Business is an excellent song.
You know, Paramore doesn't play that song anymore.
That's because it's played out.
No, because it's like woman on woman. Like
Oh, is that what
hate
it
and
is?
Violence.
Is it?
Yeah.
No. Isn't it just she's jealous? And she's just
I
like,
feel I have mixed feelings on that reasoning.
it's high school jealousy. That's all right.
Yeah.
Haley Williams did write that song when she was like 16 or something.
Yeah.
And now she looks back and she's like, I don't want to perpetuate these messages of like women on women shittiness.
That's fair, I guess.
It is, but that song's a banger.
It's
Yeah.
a good song.
What if she just like, changed the words?
She should have made an appearance on the podcast and then edited
In
it
the
herself.
business of misery, let's take it from the top. Yeah, so this has gotten really off track. We listened to stuff on the car. I guess that's the gist of this. But then we got to our Airbnb
Oh, it was a doozy.
in San Jose, and just describe what it was like entering the Airbnb. I'm gonna get water.
Well, I've been to a lot of Airbnbs before. That's my go-to if I'm staying in a different city rather than a hotel. And I feel like most Airbnbs make a point to construct the experience in a way that feels similar to a hotel, where it feels either kind of anonymous, like you are just staying in your own space, or make it more bed and breakfasty, where you're gonna meet the people and they're gonna be like, hey, we're gonna make food here if you want to stick around, and it's like a communal experience. But it's like one of those two options. But this place was neither of those.
It was quite the opposite, really.
Yeah, they certainly were not there. There was no communication with them, but it was definitely still their house that we were. I felt like I was imposing on them.
I felt like I broke into someone's house.
Yeah, the entire place was covered in like photos from their wedding and their childhood together, and like
It's a couple who's known each other since high school, and they got married recently.
This year. They're 23.
And every photo that they took at their wedding was on display prominently.
Yeah,
In addition to like the garter.
Yeah, there's a shelf with just like memorabilia from the day of, and then in the bedroom there's all these whiteboards that have very personal details about like, here's how much savings we have in our bank account right now, and here's how much we want to have, and here's my goals as a human being this month.
We should drink less.
Yeah, and it was just very, very personal to them. It didn't feel like they were aware that other people were going to be in their house, but obviously they were because they rented out. I don't know.
slept in their newlywed bed.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sleeping on that
Yeah, I
bed.
slept on the couch.
That couch has also probably seen some shit.
Well.
No, actually, it probably hasn't.
So get this, guys.
They're also hardcore religious.
Yeah.
Like, very devout, hardcore Protestants.
There's a lot of quotes on the walls.
Yeah, a lot of Bible passages.
Like handwritten, like she bought a canvas and some paint and like
And you know
wrote
what?
her favorite.
That's fine. That's fine. If that's what makes
That's
you happy.
debatable.
If that's what makes you happy, do it. But
It was
don't,
tacky.
don't make that the focal point of your like design sensibilities.
But here's the thing, is that not only did they leave all like this personal information like on the walls and maybe on pictures, they just left their journals and diaries out.
Like, just not like we went looking for it. Like, it was legit on the coffee table. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, what is this leather-bound book? Oh,
It's called The Love Dare.
Yeah, so there was a book.
bad dare.
There was a book called The Love Dare, which was a Christian book that was like a 30-day challenge where every day it gave you a little passage and a little synopsis about, healing your marriage. Which, first off, suspect because they're newlyweds.
Yeah,
Why are
got-
they trying
got
to
married
heal
in,
them?
what, July or June?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't dox them too hard. They're mixed race from Arkansas. Boom.
Jesus.
What?
Nothing.
So
I'm very familiar with their lives, but it's fine.
yeah, we all are because they left the love dare just out on the thing. Like 30 days of a book that you write in after you have different love challenges. And I don't mean like sexy love challenges.
No.
I mean like we need marriage counseling challenges.
Yeah. There's like a guided self-help journal for your
Like,
marriage.
in lieu of a counselor, there is this book given by God.
And so I'm not a nice person, so I had zero qualms just reading it aloud.
And I was hooked immediately.
Yeah.
Because it was weird. We're in these people's home and just reading about their life.
Like intensely personal stuff.
Very
They
personal.
probably don't tell their friends or family.
No, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
for sure.
Because it's all like the stuff that they should be telling a therapist.
Yeah.
But
We learned a lot. It's really interesting though, like the whole like, oh, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, don't. We all have our first impressions. We walk in that place and we're like, okay, so she's the hardcore religious person. He unwillingly like got into it. He probably did it because they could have sex finally.
Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense. What is it? Bag it and tag it. We're out of here. We got this. We were very wrong.
Even just like when I first walked in there, it was like, wow, these people just got married and they're obsessed with their marriage. They must be like a pretty happy couple. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was in the house of very happy people.
And then
Then I did not feel that way when we
we left we left a home of lies and deceit.
what did we learn in the love journal?
Well, one, the homie has a problem with porn.
Yep.
He has a porn addiction, and his wife is very mad about it.
He has 2 female friends that she doesn't like
Yeah.
at all.
But she also cheated on him
She cheated on him.
sometime in 2017.
So
I think.
before they got married, and they still
Yeah.
got
After
married.
they were engaged?
After they were
Yeah,
engaged.
yeah.
And yeah, the dude looks at porn too much. He wants to have sex with her more, but she's not into it. She has a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of talk of like, oh, I asked her if I could pray with her tonight, and she said that's something she's gonna have to think about. It's just stuff that feels,
Also, she cheated on him.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because that detail was left like very kind of offhand, like that wasn't the main point of anything in this book. But the rest of the book is all about how she's mad at him for kind of nebulous.
It was all
confusing
written from his
things.
perspective.
Yeah,
it was
he-
his
it was
love
his-
diary.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that actually now looking back at it now really stands out to me is that he was telling us the story, and that makes me feel bad because like he thinks he's the problem.
Yeah.
And who knows, he might be. We only have one side of the story.
Yeah.
But when your significant other cheats on you
Yeah.
and you still find things to blame about yourself, like maybe reevaluate how you go about analyzing things in your own life. And again, look, we only know his side. We looked for her love diary. We couldn't find it. But yeah, it was fascinating.
So
it was
let me
so
know-
interesting.
Let me know in the comments below if you're in an Airbnb, would you read someone else's diary if they left it out on the coffee table?
You know, there are like eBay lots where you can just buy people's used diaries.
You
I've
think
never
that's
done
what he
it.
did?
But no, but like now that I've had that experience, I'm like, I could buy some diaries
Mhm.
and dive in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we totally stalked them on Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
wherever we could, and I might still check up on them from time to time, see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Hopefully better.
Hopefully better. But yeah, so let us know what you think about that. Seriously.
Are we bad?
Are we bad?
Joey's bad. He opened the book.
I mean, yeah, but like everyone else enjoyed it.
And we did just share all those details with you guys,
Well, we
which
didn't-
might be,
We didn't give names. It's fine.
yeah,
That could be anyone.
yeah.
Could be close.
But we definitely delayed our return home, probably like 2 hours reading through this diary.
Yeah, we got up in the morning and we're like, "Hey guys, you ready to go?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then we're like, "Oh no, the diary."
They have a lovely home, though. Outside of the home. Well, like, it's a
What
nice...
do you mean?
It's a nice space.
Their walls are like whatever. Their kitchen's too
It's
small.
a nice
The
space.
carpet was very like worn and kind of grungy.
Yeah.
It was a nice space.
There's no windows in the kitchen area, which I feel is a shame.
Yeah. The AC is like not really an AC.
Yeah.
An AC.
Yeah.
Well, I had a wonderful time sleeping on the floor.
Our apartment's much nicer now.
Well, yeah, it is. You know.
Well, you did sleep on the floor because you had like 8 beers at least
I didn't,
at the bar.
I feel like I didn't really have a choice in the matter. I was like, Joey should probably sleep on the bed because you have a bad back. Coral can sleep on the couch because she's already sitting on the couch. So that just leaves the floor for me.
We could have shared the bed.
I am not sharing a bed with a newlywed's bed with you, Joe.
Come on. I'm ashamed. The meetup was really cool.
It was a lot of fun.
I was super stoked. We got to play some arcade games.
Dude, we got to play Killer Queen. I was so excited. I had always heard about that game. It's a super rare arcade cabinet. The game's available on like every console now, but they only have like 50 of those cabinets available. It's a 10-player joust game, 2 teams of 5, and I was just like, oh, I hope we have enough people show up so we can play this game. And at first, I was like, shit, it's not going to happen because only Carl Swaggin was there. Carl Swaggin was the first person there. I was like, this is great. I know Carl Swaggin. Cool, this is great. But I was like, oh no, what if he's the only person who shows up? Like, did we just drive 5 hours for one person to show up? Which is fine, but like a little bit of an ego thing. But then it worked out nicely because we had a pretty decent turnout.
Yeah.
And we had enough people to play Killer Queen. It was great. What did you guys think of the arcade bar? Level Up, that's what it was called?
I think so. It was all right. It was a little like, I wish it felt more like a bar and less like a
Very
room.
well lit.
Yeah, it was very well lit, and it was just like one large rectangle that had like games around the edges and then a bunch of tables in the middle. I wish it was like a little more hangouty and a little
Yeah.
less kids party vibe.
It did feel like I was like at a Chuck E. Cheese with
Yeah,
the lights on.
yeah, yeah. But other than that, it was cool.
They had good
Games were
beer.
fun. Yeah.
Good beer. Very expensive cocktails.
But mostly it was the people.
What about the people?
They were great. It was
Who
good
are
to
you
see everyone.
talking about?
What? I don't know who the fuck was there. Carl Swaggin? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
What?
What? No, no. Like seriously, a lot.
No,
of
we
people
had a
came out.
great turnout. It was a lot of fun. Just like we definitely, I feel like we brought the place to life almost because it was super quiet when we
Yeah.
got there. But then once everyone started to shuffle in, it was just like everyone got like a beer or two in them, and then we started getting rowdy at the arcade cabinet, and then everyone started to like filter off and do their own thing, but still kind of be part of the great cyber garbage unit. And then we just had like adjacent tendrils spread throughout the whole barcade. Like it was really cool, and the place like came to life almost. It felt like they brought the lights down a little bit.
I fucked some people up in Hydro Thunder.
Nah, you would play Hydro Thunder.
Best arcade game.
Carl shot terrorists wearing tank tops and sunglasses.
I did.
It was really good. We had a lot of beer.
It was Modelo time.
It was Modelo time. Carl Swaggin kicked off Modelo time with a picture of Modelo. That was good. Smelly Pete fed me like a Patron shot. Oh, that was rough. Oh man, I drank a lot.
You did drink a lot. You were outside until almost like 1 in the morning.
Well, I wasn't by myself when
Yeah,
you
we
say
were
it like
all
that.
there.
We were all there. I definitely gave you. Okay, full disclosure. Because this is the Patreon of trust. There was a moment where I was like, "It's cold. It's late. I'm drunk. I want to lay down and go to bed." And I did the thing where like Coral was ready to go. I was vibing with Coral. I was like, Coral's ready to go. Cool. I'm going to do the thing where I put my back up. I'm going to be next to Coral, and I'm going to look directly at Joey, and I'm going to stare at him. And I'm going to do the thing where I, like, nod my head up and down a little bit. And then he just looked at me while he was talking to everyone still, and he just says, "What, Nick?" I was like, well, now I can't say let's go home. Jesus, Joey. Body language.
Hey man, I made a bit out of it.
Yeah.
Everything's a bit.
There was not a bit. It was just like, oh, great. Now it's bad if I say, let's go home.
Yeah, no. Everyone was having a good time, and I wasn't gonna let you bum their high, man.
We were out there for like 2 hours in the cold.
having a good time.
It was
It
really
wasn't that
It
cold.
was cold.
It was pretty cold.
It wasn't that cold. It was nice
A
outside.
light denim jacket.
It wasn't that cold.
It was a good time, though. It was cool.
It was worthwhile. I'm super happy that we went up.
We saw some old faces, which was nice. And
Yeah.
now it seems like we got some recurring faces again, which is great.
Yeah.
It's good to see everyone again.
And yeah, we went back to the Airbnb. We slept. We got in the car the next day. We stopped in Gilroy again to go to the garlic store,
Yes.
Garlic World,
I like that place.
which we have a video you put up today.
That is up.
Now you know when we're recording this.
Yeah.
This will go up soon.
Dude, the spicy garlic pickles
Are
are
they good?
so good.
The garlic salsa I got was also very good.
So good. Like I like every day I'm like, I'm gonna go home and have a spicy garlic.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, like the garlic store is pretty rad. I ate a bunch of pickled garlic, which I was super into.
You had olives, didn't you?
No, olives suck. Fuck olives.
I got an olive. I was like, maybe I like olives again, or maybe I like olives now. And nope, don't.
I love olives.
They're
Yeah, I
the
feel like
worst.
Coral
I
likes
think
olives.
I should have done is gotten one of their special spicy garlicky jars of olives because that would have made the best martini.
Oh yeah, can you
But I
make your
didn't.
own though? Like, is that you can't? It's probably pretty complicated.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know how you brine things.
Yeah, how do you make a brine?
Vinegar and salt. It's more work than I will do for
That's
a martini.
definitely an eHow article, right?
Yeah.
Funny pictures.
Where do you get fresh olives from?
The
don't know.
olive store.
what do olives grow on?
Gilroy, California.
Trees?
Yeah.
Olive trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause there's olive branch,
hmm
so that must.
A
I
bush can have a branch, though, right?
yeah, and I feel like olives could be on like a vine situation, like a.
I think it's a tree.
It is a tree.
I know that there's like bad olive trees, like the kinds that make me itchy, that like grow randomly in California.
What? Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I don't think those are like edible olives. Those are like those weird black olives that stain the pavement.
Yeah.
How was the? I didn't like the garlic ice cream.
No, I hated it.
It
I
was
mean,
bad.
I ate the rest of it.
Oh,
Ugh.
it was
The
worst.
vanilla was the worst because it was so buttery. It just tasted like
Buttered garlic.
it tasted like garlic spread, like just having a spoonful of cold garlic spread.
The garlic fries were pretty tasty, but I can only do garlic for so long.
Yeah.
Garlic.
It's too much.
We had a good drive back because my GPS took us from the 101 to the 5, which is a very California sentence, but basically from the coastal highway to the inland highway, which means that we just kind of drove through some mountainous mid-range California, which was just so pretty.
I typically
It
don't
was.
get motion sick, but I definitely got motion sick.
I knew you were. I was like, Nick, are you okay? I can like stop or
Well, at
pull
first
over
I
or
was
change
fine.
stuff.
When
and
you
you're
asked-
like, no, man, I'm fine.
When
And
you
I'm
said
like,
that,
you're not fine. I'm looking at you. You look ill.
When you said that, I was fine because I was like, "Oh, I'm trying to beat this boss in Hollow Knight, but I can't because
Oh.
we're driving crazy." And there was like one
I
of those.
wasn't driving crazy.
It was like a precision boss fight, so you have to like really pay attention to how you're moving. I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna not feel great." So then I just knocked out for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then I felt great.
Yeah. Corn and I listened to a lot of like remix 80s pop.
It was like baked
Yeah.
into your hard drive, right? Your
It
car
was
hard
like
drive.
stuck in my car hard drive from the previous owner.
There was not bad music though. There was some choice songs.
We skipped all the like,
Oh, I missed the bad stuff then.
yeah,
Israeli music.
yeah, like Israeli club music.
That's great.
Listened to a few, and then there were just so many more.
Yeah.
I had to skip.
But yeah.
That was our adventures of TwitchCon, witnessing a marriage fail, and
But really, I almost feel like we glazed over hanging out with everybody. That was the best. That was the reason for the
well, I
season.
feel like that was like
They were there.
they were
Yeah,
there.
they were there. And if you weren't there, maybe it's encouragement to
Yeah, maybe
I
you
don't
should be
know.
there next time
Be
for a
there.
more personal experience.
yeah. What the fuck? Why don't you just uproot your life and go to San Jose for a weekend?
Why don't you stop thinking about yourselves and think about our? Well, I'm just kidding.
They're on Patreon. They're already thinking about our well-being.
I know. I'm just kidding. Patrons. Do you know why they call it Patreon?
Because you pay me, you
No.
peon.
It's because back in the day, people like Leonardo da Vinci and stuff like that would like have inventions that they couldn't finance directly from like the big head honchos of wherever they lived, and so they would rely on the patronage of the city folk and town folk. Be like, hey, I appreciate what this guy's doing. I'm gonna throw him a couple bucks so that he can continue doing the thing that he likes to do. Therefore, they were patrons of these people, and their continued patronage allowed them to pursue the things that they love. Fun fact.
Guys, my body hurts.
All right, that's the end of the show. I gotta go walk over and actually, Coral, can you stop?
I
Can you
can.
stop the record.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm really sorry about the coughing.
Bye.